Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Zhou put the golden mirror away and flew forward. Pavilion Master? The four evil Sky Pavilion elders did not understand what Zhou was doing. Master? Zhou's disciples were similarly confused. Were they not supposed to shine the golden tissue mirror on the people inside the city to expose and catch all the spies? Why did their master suddenly put the golden tissue mirror away? The cultivators flew behind Zhou. The four elders followed suit as well. Shortly after, Zhou was at the center of the divine capital. He stopped and looked up at the curtain-like barrier in the sky. What's the Pavilion Master trying to do? No idea. We can't afford to wait any longer. Time waits for no man. If Zhou did not use the golden mirror, the others would have no way of telling the other tribesmen apart from the citizens. The others could only look at each other as they waited. The others were still confused when Zhou suddenly shot up to the curtain-like barrier in the sky. When he was halfway up, he aimed his palm skyward as the golden mirror materialized in his hand. A dazzling light shone from between his fingers at once. The civilians and cultivators who witnessed this retreated immediately. As Zhou rose higher and higher, the area the light from the golden mirror shone on grew wider and wider, spreading into the surroundings. In just an instant, many Wolf King avatars appeared. Apart from that, there were also Leopard King avatars and Golden Snake avatars. Just like these, the other tribesmen and various avatars were exposed under the golden mirror's light. Realization dawned on Zhou immediately. He hurriedly ordered, "Academy disciples, heed my order. Take down the spies." The Academy disciples at the peak of the imperial city sprang into action. The great Yen cultivators looked to their sides. They suddenly realized that the people next to them whom they got along with were other tribesmen. They instantly paled from the shock. Then, they raised their blades and cut them down. At this moment, the four elders and disciples finally understood Zhou's intention. They did hesitate and leaped into action. Meanwhile, Zhou was still flying upward. When his figure was the size of a person's palm, a loud bang rang from the curtain-like barrier in the sky. Then, a light circle rippled out into the surroundings. Zhou had slammed the golden mirror against the curtain-like barrier in the sky. The barrier's power gathered, and the golden mirror now shone with a blue light that instantly illuminated the entire divine capital. The heavens lie above the earth, the sun and moon shone on the world since time immemorial. When the golden mirror was activated, it shone on all lives inside the divine capital. Impossible. Good heavens. There are so many spies. Kill them. Fuck you. Kill those who trespass on Great Yan's lands. Kill. The Great Yan cultivators were stunned by what they were seeing. They drew their blades and swung them at the other tribesmen's spies. For a time, blood rained down everywhere, and the scent of death hung in the air. There was no organized movement, no discipline, and no plan. They killed the spies, running on basic instincts. The spies' faces were ashen. Whiz. A unique energy resonance resounded across the divine capital. Zhou released his grip. He hovered in the air and looked down. The golden mirror was like another sun. It absorbed the power from the curtain-like barrier in the sky and shone on the city. Meanwhile, the civilians in the city prostrated themselves and continued to kowtow at Zhou. Ding. Received sincere kowtows from 105 individuals. Reward, 1050 merit points. Ding. Received sincere kowtows from 203 individuals. Reward, 2030 merit points. Ding. Received sincere kowtows from 390 individuals. Reward, 3900 merit points. The series of notifications surprised Zhou. He honestly did not expect to receive so many points from this issue. If he was trying to obtain points from this, he would not have let the others deal with the 5 spies. The golden mirror's light shone on every mortal and cultivator in the divine capital. There was no exception. Their true forms were exposed. The avatars revealed by the golden mirror were miniature size, not true to size. Meanwhile, the avatars of varying sizes summoned by cultivators unleashed huge blasts of energy. For a time, the entire divine capital was in chaos. The other tribesmen's spies bared their fangs and pounced on anyone in their vicinity. When Zhou saw this, she summoned her avatar and stabbed her coiling dragon staff into the ground. Densely packed scripts and runes shot out in all directions from the staff. At the same time, the golden gourd bottle flew along the streets of the city. It struck every other tribesman it encountered. Lang Luo was not as flashy as the others. He moved swiftly among the people. Every time he moved, he would take down another tribesman. Zhou shook his head helplessly. His disciples were too young, after all. They were not as decisive and experienced as the 4 elders. The other tribesmen running about the city in an attempt to counterattack were walking merit points. Duanmu Shang and little Yuan were faster than the other disciples. They would swoop down from the air and take out the other tribesmen. Conk did not know how to kill, so she remained on the peak of the imperial city. Prioritize protecting the civilians. 2 hours are enough for us, Zhou Yukai said. Zhou looked at the people moving on the streets. He felt helpless. Their worship of him was forced to stop. Many of them had chosen to save their own lives. As the golden mirror shone on the divine capital, the other tribesmen and Great Yan cultivators fought fiercely. Zhou saw Wolf King avatars and Leopard King avatars clustered in groups. He was slightly surprised at their numbers. He continued to look down at the divine capital, observing the situation as far as his eyes allowed him to. There were no grand cultivators among the spies. Most of them were in the divine court realm and the Brahmin sea realm. They were not worthy of him personally making a move. The blue light was capable of penetrating the buildings. It was unfortunate for the other tribesmen's spies who thought they could avoid being exposed by hiding in the buildings. The avatars were indiscriminately exposed. Zhou looked up at the golden Taishu mirror and mumbled, "I knew it." Zhou observed the situation for a while longer. His disciples' performances were worthy of praise. Zhu Honggong was the only one who seemed slightly dumb. He had a cultivation base close to a 3-leaf cultivator, but he was still sneaking up on divine court realm cultivators from the other tribes. He was slightly concerned by this. Bam! Zhu Honggong knocked one of them down with a punch. He guffawed. "Brat, you're far too green to play hide and seek with your grandfather. Your avatar's aura is too dense." After killing one of them, Zhu Honggong saw a female Wolf King avatar trying to hide. He chuckled as he rushed over. At this moment, an 8-leaf avatar flew in the sky. Its presence was rather domineering. A white-clad Yi Tianxin launched a palm strike, and the female Wolf King avatar was instantly destroyed. When Zhu Honggong looked up, Yi Tianxin was already gone. He complained loudly, "6th senior sister, don't steal my kill." Yi Tianxin replied, "8th junior brother, are you blaming me for your slow speed? I would never." Zhu Honggong turned around and continued to seek a new target. He grinned and knocked his fists together. At this moment, a cultivator came running toward him from behind. He shouted, "Mr. 8th? You're calling me? There's an other tribesman. Save me. Don't worry, I'm here. I'll protect you." Zhu Honggong waved his fists. There. A 1-leaf Wolf King avatar. Hurry. The cultivator pointed at one of the corners. When he turned around again, he was stunned. "Mr. 8th? Where did he go?" Zhou no longer paid attention to the battles around him. He shifted his eyes to Conk, who was at the peak of the imperial city scene. Red Lotus. Zhou saw Conk's vivid red lotus under the golden mirror's light. The red lotus avatar had the appearance of a peak 10 worlds avatar. Zhou lowered his altitude and flew toward the peak of the imperial city. He approached Conk swiftly. "Give me your hand." "Oh." Conk looked at her master and said timidly, "Master, why is my avatar red while everyone else's is golden? Zhou gave her a contemplative look. He did not know how he was supposed to answer her. It was just like he had guessed, perhaps, Conk was in the process of awakening. In the end, he only said, leave your questions for later. Before you have the strength to protect yourself, you must not summon your avatar, understand? Oh. I'll help you hide it. Zhou placed his large hand on Konk's small hand and gripped it lightly. A blue light swirled around Konk immediately. The red lotus was easily concealed by the heavenly writing's extraordinary power. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. The cultivators in the world could conjure up primal qi and produce unique powers through their cultivation. However, his extraordinary power seemed to exceed the power of primal qi. After Zhou suppressed Konk's red lotus avatar, a gruff voice from the entrance of the steps leading to the imperial city's peak. You're only a 5-leaf cultivator. The speaker was clearly shocked. Zhou and Konk looked over. A masked and black-clad cultivator sauntered over. His eyes were brimming with shock and confusion. Konk turned to look at the miniature avatar behind her master. She said, Master, you're really a 5-leaf cultivator. Zhou glanced out of the corners of his eyes. He sighed helplessly. He had been careless, and as a result, exposed himself. The golden mirror would reveal everything, after all. He turned back to look at the black-clad cultivator and his 6-leaf golden lotus. He was clearly a cultivator from Great Yen. Zhou was slightly surprised to see a Great Yen cultivator at the peak of the imperial city. Although the cultivator was masked and dressed in all black to hide his identity, he was completely exposed under Zhou's gaze. Name, Wei. Identity, Great Yen human. Realm, nascent divinity. Under the golden mirror's light, Wei's 6-leaf avatar was exceptionally bright and dazzling. It seemed like he had been working hard all this time to raise his cultivation base to the 6-leaf stage. Moreover, the once stiff and awkward Wei now held the air of someone in high office. Konk retreated slightly. Zhou stood before her and said, there's no need to be afraid. Wei Zhuoyan regarded Zhou with a complicated gaze. He looked at Zhou intently as he said, although I don't know how you fooled the others, the golden mirror has shown me the truth. Truth? Zhou said apathetically, what do you think is the truth? Wei Zhuoyan glanced at the chaotic city out of the corners of his eyes. The spies were being singled out and executed on the spot. However, these spies had nothing to do with him. He smiled and said, there is a guardian deity in Xiufan Temple. Neither doves nor birds can enter or nest there. Bodhidharma said, I have seen the truth. Regardless of the time, there's only one truth. Eloquently spoken, Zhou said as he stroked his beard, however, how can you be certain that what you see is the truth? Wei pointed at his own head, eyes, and the skies before he said, some are smart while some are stupid. Some are born to be enslaved, just like them. He pointed at the civilians in the city and the cultivators who were trying their best to take down the spies. Then, he stepped forward and continued to say, some are born with the tendency to deceive. They will act as though they're knowledgeable, as though they have everything under their control, and spout nonsense to trick those who don't know any better. Clearly, in Wei Zhuoran's eyes, the old man and young girl before him were prey to be hunted. Zhou stroked his beard and called out indifferently, Wei Zhuoran. Wei Zhuoran's eyes widened in shock. He instinctively took a step back as he looked at Zhou. How did he recognize me? Do you think your wings are strong now? I put you in that position to replace Wei Zhuoyan. You should be thanking me. Wei Zhuoran calmed down and said, that was a different time. Senior Ji, since you discovered my identity, don't blame me for this. Wei Zhuoran looked down at the city. He knew he did not have much time. With swift movements, he charged toward Zhou. He extended his hands and turned them before pushing his palms out. He was certain his palm strike would heavily injure Zhou, if not kill him. Like a Buddha, Zhou raised his hand and pushed a palm forward. A golden palm seal with a tint of blue from the extraordinary power flew out. Bam! Wei Zhuoran was too close. There was no time for him to dodge. The palm seal that was as tall as an adult man sent him flying. The black cloth around his face was torn, revealing his nose and forehead that seemed concave. Boom. Wei Zhuoran crashed into a tower at the peak of the imperial city. Cracks spread along the tower, threatening to fall. If I can save your life, I can take it from you as well. Lu Zhou stepped forward with his hands on his back. Wei Zhuoyan widened his eyes in shock and confusion. His speech was impeded from fear. No, no, no. He pressed a hand against his wound and prepared to summon his avatar to flee when he felt a strong force pulling him back. The fiend monk's hand seal. Wei Zhuoran was firmly held in its grasp and was forcibly pulled back. His heart sank. Impossible. He could believe this. Alas, nothing in this world was impossible. Against me, anyone below the 8-leaf stage is the same to me. Even those who are more powerful can still be dealt with by a palm strike or two. Lu Zhou looked at Wei Zhuoran and asked, "Who are you working for?" Wei Zhuoran's eyes widened, but he remained silent. Lu Zhou pulled Wei Zhuoran toward him and tossed him on the ground. Wei Zhuoyan released a breath and said, "Is your 5-leaf stage fake?" After that, his head lolled to the side, and he breathed his last breath. Ding. Killed a target. Reward, 1,500 merit points. Lu Zhou noticed even in death, Wei Zhuoran's eyes were widened in shock and the fearful expression on his face did not disappear. The fiend monk's hand seal had not closed yet. The palm strike before this should not be fatal for him. Why did Wei Zhuoran suddenly die? Did he die from shock? Meanwhile, Yi Tianqin continued to move swiftly. Her flowing white robes fluttered under the golden mirror's light. The 8-leaf golden lotus avatar beside her made for an awe-inspiring sight. 8-leaf. The evil sky pavilion's Miss Sixth. As Yi Tianqin moved toward her master, the cultivator finally noticed that the white-clad woman with white hair who looked like a goddess was an 8-leaf cultivator. How many 8-leaf cultivators are there in the evil sky pavilion? With this, that makes it 3, I think. For most sects, 8-leaf cultivators would be the undisputed candidate for the position of a sect master. Some sects did not even have 7-leaf cultivators, let alone 8-leaf cultivators. And yet, the evil sky pavilion had 3 8-leaf cultivators. What kind of monstrous strength was this? Yi Tianqin ignored the shocked cries in the surroundings as she quickly flew to the peak of the imperial city. Lu Zhou noticed that Yi Tianqin was sweating. Clearly, she was not at the stage where she could handle intense battles with ease yet. After Yi Tianqin landed at the peak of the imperial city, she bowed and said, "Master." 6th senior sister. Conk ran up to Yi Tianqin. "Protect Conk," Lu Zhou said. "Yes, master." Yi Tianqin walked to Conk's side. Lu Zhou glanced at the golden mirror. Then, he observed the situation in the divine capital. Due to the absence of powerful enemies, the entire process was rather smooth. There was not as much bloodshed compared to when the Nether Sect was attacking the city. Every spy was exposed and captured. Although the divine capital was huge, with so many nascent divinity realm elites thoroughly searching the capital, it would not take long to find all the spies. In the sky, the golden Taishu mirror was still absorbing the power from the curtain-like barrier in the sky. At this moment, Lu Zhou saw a huge northern goshawk circling above it. Usually, wild beasts would not easily approach human settlements. Some cultivators had observed that wild beasts that mutated without absorbing primal chi would not easily approach human settlements. They seemed to have a natural inclination to avoid places with a high human population. Naturally, this did not mean the wild beasts would not attack humans. On the contrary, some weaker villages or cities were frequently attacked by wild beasts. However, humans began cultivating and grew stronger. In addition to the protection of barriers, it deterred the wild beasts even more. Strangely, this northern goshawk was so bold. Usually, it would have already been shot down by the ballistae. Lu Zhou studied the northern goshawk. At this moment, the northern goshawk lowered its altitude and closed in on the golden Taishu mirror. Cursed livestock. Lu Zhou turned around and said, "Conk." "Master?" "Chase that northern goshawk away," Lu Zhou said. There was no need for him to use his extraordinary power on a little wild beast. Conch raised her Lantian jade flute to her lips. A sharp and grating tune rang in the air. The tune sounded like a spinning drill. The notes rose very high before they glided down again.